Okay. I just want to start by saying thank you, God. Um, you know, I can feel my body being hit with this weapon system, and they destroy my organ system, my gastro, and some other organs. I'm not saying that just with calmness because I'm looking forward to death. It's not that. It's just I'm at peace, and I'm thankful that before this happened to me, I was able to put reality in this low life face, and I did not give them any ounce of fantasy. I'm so thankful that everything they do to me, as crazy as they want me to accept this manipulation, I will never identify with it. It's disgusting, but it's what they do. And I've accepted what this for what it is. I'm a guinea pig. They're using my brain to develop this weapon system, meaning that they are seeing what tactics, manipulations, matrices of this deflections and it's not even deflection, deceptions and trickeries, in order for me to break down and accept this manipulation. Um, but one thing I've noticed the last few days has been bad because there's this testimonial of this woman who, when she was a child, was molested and raped, and by her father. And today, as an adult woman, was is being tortured sexually and abused. And so right now is all about countering that. Right now is a consist they are trying to block that because the reason what they were doing before is to try to present themselves, and I say try because it didn't work out. They were presenting themselves and trying to make me accept that they are protectors of women and children, and this is they're avenging for what I did as a child and this and that. And this one testimonial, like many, just describe the disgusting foulness of these people, that they will torture babies, which I have testimonials of that, but also torture women, which I have a lot of testimonials of that. But this woman is a woman who's been tortured to death as a woman, but as a child was abused and molested and raped and sexually abused by her father. And so they were supposed to be like, no, you pay for what you did as a kid. It's so nasty. Um, they say that, well, they want me to think that what they're doing to me today as an adult man is the way I'm thinking is because they've manipulated my brain like the way I used to think when I was a child. And I'm going to show you how disgusting things are. That my brain is just being altered and rewired in a way that I was when I was a child. And I should be identified with this, which on its own shows how retarded it is. Matter of fact, as I'm saying that right now, there's no escaping. They do this scare tactic, no escaping, where there's whipping, no escaping. Right? It's like, oh, pay. Pew. But you're going to clearly hear what they do to women. You're going to clearly hear what they do to children. You're going to clearly hear what this is about. And you're going to understand how stupid they want me to be. To think that my brain right now, I should identify with this because this is how I felt when I was a kid, which is bullshit and nonsensical. But the truth is they use these tactics of deception and trickery while they manipulate you in these ways. I know the video I make don't change what's going to happen to me. It's okay. But it can change what's going to happen to them. And it can help other target individual because once you know this reality, it changes reality. In the sense of you see these clouds for what they are. First of all, let me just give you an example of how they manipulate me, some of the extreme and less extreme. They can play with the libido. They like to play with sexual libido. You're going to hear that. And they force me to have these sexual arousals. It's nasty. And then they have perps coming in all shape or form, try to gaslight me. One of the perps come like children. They're like children. Some of them are like adults. Some of them are co-workers. Some of them they come in all shape or form. There's two type of psyops. Or actually there's one type, but they come in different versions. One is this like fierce fun out, pretending like they're avenging and this is time for you to pay for it. They talk about you, what you did to this woman, this and that, and you pay for it. It's supposed to make me think that this is not some program that's out here burning vaginas, suffocating 7-year-old kids, sexually torturing 3-year-olds, blinding 9-year-olds, doing all these things to children and women, the most vulnerable. Look at me. And everything happening. And they now at this point are planning on this theatrical. What I mean by theatrical is it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. It's try to create this torture that's going to be for the purpose of pretending that there's pain is all this fucking theatrical. Theatrical is because they're projecting what they deserve. They need to be castrated for what they involved in. They need to be killed for what they done, what they involved in, what they do. What they deserve is not something give them. They know that. So because they know that's what they deserve, they project that onto me. And because I exposed them, I've embarrassed them. That they even torture a woman. That when she was a child was molested, raped. Till they get all these horrible things. You know this woman here. This woman, her name is Megan. She just have a video not too long ago talking about how when she was a child, this happened, has been traumatic, she's been trying to go after the abuse. Everything is not happening. This is a target video to call herself. You have these perps try to pretend that it's involved in certain death. But it's not for me to do that. How it comes to you is how it comes to you. Target individual, do not think about harming this trash. They'll get theirs. What's been harmful to them is putting reality in their faces. They hate that. They hate that because they wanted to play this avengers and protectors of women and children when the truth they nasty low life. And they work for governmental entities filled with pedophiles. The National Defense Network Abuse Act I've brought out so many times, so you don't even need to bring that up. But they manipulate your brain in these disgusting ways. They bring up what I did as a child to try to make me think that you paid what you did as a kid. Let me just give you an example. I was looking at it because they try to create perception to try to confuse me what a 14-year-old 8-year-old looks like. So I'm like, let me show you what. And it was a risk. I googled 14-year-old boys, what they look like, right? And there's this thing that comes up that shows the height of these kids, right? And this is weird. And unfortunately, first of all, they do these things usually for little girls. So little boys don't do that too much because I have to pick with some little boy. One of my social media, right? So the manipulation of my brain started on nothing. So they don't want to make it hard. So they do that for the little girls. So I see this weird, bizarre picture. What? It's not a boy or a girl. And basically, little girl, but she's not wearing a t-shirt. I don't know why this is supposed to be. What is an average height for 7th grade? You see, this is a little girl with no t-shirt on. They're forcing me, and it's so weird why I don't know why this randomly they don't have that one t-shirt. I don't know if I'm not seeing it or maybe there's a t-shirt somewhere. But so they are forcing me to see the skin in this sexual way, giving me stimulations and making me look at her chest that's non-existent and try to create some sexual perception of the skin and try to make me think not as I desire what you're getting now. That's what you're making me experience today as an adult. That's the thing to do to a person. You see how clearly, obviously, they've treated it. It is nasty. What's up between kids? Actually, the kid, the same age as this kid. The same age as these kids here. You say that's what you felt, that's what you had. Imagine being their age and I feel that's the same age. It makes no sense. But that's the thing. You should act when you're a kid. I'm in my late 30s. When I was a kid, you're really cool. And it really made my opinion out. That shit was so good. And the reason why they were how this last kill kids who kill. This is a 14-year-old that I can't sad. And what I did as a child, it was the same age. And they try to they're creating this same age as this kid. 14-year-old. I don't know if you can see how young this kid looks like. Or maybe you can give you a better perspective. Or this.
Creative for no. First time this. We've got something very easy for you guys to try. Oh my god. First thing we're trying is the original Korean hot dog.
Is that sugar? Is it sugar on it?
Yeah, sugar on there. Do you want to put some ketchup on it?
Just give you exactly what.
Do you want to put some ketchup?
I don't know if you see how young these kids look like, but when I was this age, I did something to myself as a kid that, I look back and it's impossible to see. Now, these people listen to what they do to children and listen to the foulness of what they call it. I love the fact that they do everything possible to counter Riyadh. Because I don't know if you can capture the noise campaign from your neighbor. They're trying to counter this what they do to children. Just to clarify, a young child. There's a perfect love in this here right now. campaign to counter that they torture children, but she want me to think, oh, now you pay for what you did as a kid when you play here.
It's very similar to us. We used to do that late 70s.
And so this is not a unique testimonial of children being tortured. You know, there's even more disturbing stuff, which
I'm currently a speech language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all. I eventually one day she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm with severe pain. And what I do is I'm doing more severe suffocation. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of the torturers were cyclical and hysterical. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day.
this is the 7-year-old kid. It's right now a neighbor who works in the program that does these things, trying to counter this. That's the life they live right now.
Her 5-year-old sister, who also had worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this at least on 1 or 2.
And they say, oh, we're going to torture you worse than the way they torture these children. This is how disgusting their life is. And I see this thing as an honorable thing at this point. You know, these people who believe that even if they involve in a program where they torture children in these disgusting ways, they can find ways to still live this fantasized reality. They will make a whipping noise as they manipulate my brain. When I see this kid here, and by the way, they want me to be identified with them and be nervous and scared. I don't. You know why? Because I know it's them manipulating my brain to experience that. And they tell me, oh, they're going to see that. I was like, let them see it. I'm a grown-ass man. If you say that, oh, they're just making my brain a child brain, with the retard, people will torture children, making whipping noise when I know they torture children in these horrible ways. Sending these retards and trash that say they're going to frame me by saying that I raped a child here. This is disgusting stuff. And so when I look at this kid, and this baby especially, with no shirt, which is weird. I don't know why they will use this picture of, and you can see here, it's like, what is the average height of a 7th grader? This baby here, they forcing me stimulation, which they say, no, you would feel like that when you were a kid. No, they force me to have this stimulation. And sometimes they're like, no, but they try to bring up like the stimulation you have like when you're a kid. I don't know if boys have like this like stimulation in their like, especially in the preteen. And they're putting this in my brain. I will try to create something similar like that by aiming toward this kid. I'm in my mid to late 30s. And they have these perps who torture children or involved in a program that torture children who are supposed to gaslight me into accepting this thing. No, they just manipulate the brain. They can create sexual stimulations. And the goal is to study what ways they can make you have these experiences where you should be identifying with it. For me, it's like, oh no, we made you experience something you felt when you were a kid. They're analyzing the tactics that will break you down. That's what they do. They use this clown. So can you imagine you in a program that's how you're torturing babies and you're making whipping noise? You know the level of delusionality you have to be doing these things, knowing that, man, this man knows we torture children. He's every day brings that up. Matter of fact, I do this on purpose so they can live a life where they deflect the reality of what they do. I do this just to make sure they low lives as long as they can. And I pray that they continue to live this low lifeness. And right now I'm feeling stimulation and my libido's cranked up because they can do these things.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
And they make me feel sexual arousal because I saw this child, this baby, with no t-shirt on. If they were trying to make me look at her breast, what, chest? And the truth is, this is the things they do.
This dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind. Putting thoughts of that. Like, this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting thing that I didn't want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through my parents. I don't know. I don't care.
And so they do these pedophilia things. And for me, they just make me think, but you see what you did as a kid. Like, man, that's an impulsive act of a child. That's what a child can do in an impulsive way. And these feelings, they make me feel like that I experienced before. It's even when I'm younger. And they're changing that and aiming toward these kids. Like, what? Can you imagine making you feel something or trying to mimic or create a similar stimulation that you had when you were like a 10-year-old? They are out here finding ways to just concoct stimulations from childhood plus what they can create and forcing you to have these sexual stimulations. And they use these clowns that are involved in the program that literally torture children the way you heard, forcing you to get this manipulation. So this pedophilia type of torture is commonly done.
It's what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my...
What they do is what they do. It's systematically done. It's the nasty things they do. And I bring that up to their faces every day. I'll make sure that these people, stupidity, these people live a life where obviousness is what they block. I will not let these people live their fantasy. I will never. And instead of feeling nervous about this thing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just something I can use again. I'll be like, boom. And I know
you're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. There's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works.
So the trickery for me, at least a lot of the time they've done, especially with the little kids, right? The little girls. It's like, no, we mapped your brain to you as a kid, and they want you to feel nervous. You know, somebody once said, no, it's you when you're 14. It's you again. You understand the stupidity of it all? These people actually work for top-tier child porn trafficker. They talk about it's me again when I was a child. They clearly manipulate my brain. But that's the things they do. You heard the tactics. So when I see this thing, I see this child over there, and they forcing me stimulation because she's a little girl. I'm like, oh. And they create these sensation feelings. It's the things they do. They use the libido in this degrading way. And I have no problem putting that in their faces.
They use these monarch style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, then use your libido to get back at you,
and they're gonna manipulate your brain and create thought process that's so disturbing and retarded. to get you to accept these things. And for me, the reason why I like to re-show this again is because they want me to be scared. I was like, no, let me just say this again. This picture with this kid over there, this is a manipulation of my brain. My brain is being altered to experience this thing. It's disgusting. It's the degrading tactics of breaking me down. They want me to be like, no, now you pay, now this you when you're a kid. I'm a grown-ass man and I know you guys will do perfetta per torture. What do you think you're going to do? And I know the trickery and the deceptive tactics of trying to break somebody down using this manipulation of your mind. Target visual, you gotta be strong, but most importantly, you gotta see this low life for what they are. For me, I put the reality of what they are every day. Every day they deflect the torture. You know the anger they can get from that? You imagine somebody who's supposed to do the whipping, you pay, and you see what they do to children? On top of that, you're like, no, I see you getting a brain and mapping. You know this is a governmental entity that clearly does that to us. They have these tactics of trying to make you believe this is anything but this massive government doing that to you. They're like some Avengers protective of the community.
Spies, implement where evil aliens were terms, people that carry the V2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government or the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're the satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than massive government could do that.
And so that's where these clowns come in. They try to present themselves as whatever they want to present themselves. And it's funny, she says something, oh, you deserve it all. I'm like, well, you know what you deserve? Oh, they don't even, they like the snap out of it. Don't let me think of that. What do you think people are like this? This blue girl, she's a nothing. But an opportunist who's trying to make you believe this is nothing, this is anything but this massive government that has this issue. That I always bring up because it's just magical to be able to put the reality in their faces. As they say now, we mapped it to you. It's you again when you're a kid. Like, oh, this is not me. When I was a kid, that's not something I experienced. It's not something I would experience. And I know myself. And they're like, no, but maybe when you're 10 years old, when you're 9.
They're sharing within the departments. It's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill...
19. We're sharing most child pornography. Well, they're like, no, you felt like that when you were a kid. It's like, and I never felt like this. But they try to mimic things of me like when I'm like 10, 8, in third grade. You get like 8 years old. When I'm like with my friends or something. And but I apply that toward these babies. And give me now, but you feel like that's now you're making me feel this way. And it goes to the point where remember when you're like when you were 8 years old, you saw this like 7-year-old, you felt like that. To make me acceptor of this manipulation. I'm somebody who's getting closer and closer to 40 years old. And you have these people talking about this third grade and really playing this concoct sensations feelings that they can make you have because this weapon system can do that. And because I'm putting the reality in their faces so much, the theatrical I'm going to go through is going to be horrible. You know, people who have to stay in character as they do these foul, disgusting things, and it has become something they use. It's a coping mechanism now. They're looking for the torture I'm going to go through because I've been putting these things there.
Interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
I'll never let this low life live the fantasy. Every time I'm gonna do this, just to ensure that they don't even, this baby here, they're forcing me to get some kind of reaction that they designed for me to experience. And they tell me, oh, they'll see that and they're gonna do it. It's like, okay, here. This, the experience to make me happy. I will never let this low life live. I will never let this trash, low life nastiness, working for top-tier child porn trafficker, manipulating people's brain, torturing children, torturing women who were tortured, who were abused and raped when they were children. Live a fantasized reality. They're nasty trash. They use these cowards, childlike trash. They're coming in all shape or form. There's these clowns here, which grown as clowns, and then there's like everyday participants that live life, just try to like fantasizing that they're some kind of adventures. They're just nothing, just childlike shit the government control. That's, by the way, they look at their phones. When they look at their phone, that's when, oh, they've seen it. Oh, I'm looking at my phone. Oh, that must be real. These clowns, childlike retards. I will never let this go like this. I know what they're involved in. I know what they do, and I know how they manipulate my brain this way. Sorry, I'm aware that my brain is clearly manipulated. And I'm glad I didn't grow up living like this shit. They don't know their shit yet though. They think they're in the mission, they're warriors, when they're just clowns. I involved in a program that's literally tortured children, and there's so many women. So much against this.